Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob with MMORPG.com, and tonight I have with me Ryan Sohmer from, well, Ryan, you tell them where you're from.
I'm from Montreal, Quebec, and I write Looking for a Group and a bunch of other webcomics hopefully you guys are familiar with.
Well, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to stop by and talk with us.
Hey, my pleasure. This three-camera thing is like blowing my mind.
Is it?
I'm like, what to look at? I don't know.
We got high production value around here.
Yeah, apparently.
So, happy Canada Day to you, by the way.
Hey, thank you. It's a big day for me and all my proud Canadians. We, I don't even know it's Canada Day today. I don't know.
That's why we're late, guys.
Exactly.
So, all right, real quickly, for everybody out there that doesn't already know, why don't you go ahead and explain what LFG is?
LFG is a webcomic that Lara D'Souza and I started about 6 years ago now. Hey, can I swear, by the way? Because I've kind of been doing it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, all right, cool. So Lara and I started about 6 years ago. We originally started LFG. It was actually a small gaming company hired us to do a World of Warcraft-based webcomic. They want us to do this thing like once every month. It was going to be one page. They were going to pay us an obscene amount of money. It was going to be fantastic. So Lara and I took the contract, took the deal. We started to work on it. And we spent the next 2 weeks just like brainstorming and coming up with these ridiculous characters in this ridiculous world. And the next thing we knew, we really wanted to do it. So, but we wanted to do it more than once a month, and we didn't want anybody else to own it. So we got out of the contract, fortunately. And a few days later, we put up the first page of LFG at lfgcomic.com. A few days after that, it's crazy. Worldofwarcraft.com, they started to link to the comic. So we went from 6 readers to 150,000 by our third or fourth update. It was crazy.
That's a population explosion right there.
Yeah, no, it took us, it really took us by surprise, and people were all coming to the site going, I want more, I want more. I'm like, fuck, we just started. We just started 4 days ago.
All right.
So
I guess
great.
it's pretty safe to say that you guys aren't strangers to the whole video game space.
No, I'm a huge video gamer. I don't get to play as much as I used to, unfortunately. Apparently kids will kind of like put a huge dent in that,
Yeah.
But I still sit down with the Xbox, and I'll still sit down with the computer, and I'll still, any free time I have, I'm playing a video game.
No, I hear you. I was just like you, actually. Before I came out to do this interview, it's like, all right, kids, go to bed. Don't get out of bed. Stay here. All right.
This is where you sleep. You sit there. Daddy's got to go play some video games.
I got other things to do. You had your 8 hours.
I'm like, listen, I gotta go shoot some Russians or whatever Call of Duty shit I'm playing tonight.
All right. That's great. So how is LFG going to tie into a video game? Just like, you can't make a book into the exact same thing as a movie, and you can't make the movie the exact same thing as a video game. You can't just say, oh, this comic's now a game. How do you make that translation? Well,
that's the thing, right? So we were trying to find a way to use the characters, use the world that we had created, but not, like, I really wanted the game to be its own entity. So that's a big part of the reason why we went with a very different graphic style, so it would stand on its own. The characters are still all, recognizable as LFG characters, so I think that, it fits quite well. But we wanted to not take away or not rehash anything. I really wanted it to add to the LFG lore, to mythology, and not like the game should be an add-on. It should be this wonderful thing for people who have never seen LFG, and it should be even better for people who are very very familiar with it. And just the more content you can add to that world. So that's really what we did. We took this this side quest that we had briefly mentioned in the comic, and we just exploded it, and we just wrote a lot more, and just made it ridiculous. And the video game was born.
So obviously, we're MMORPG.com, but this isn't an MMO. But it does have a little bit of RPG in it. So what kind of game actually is LFG and the Fork of Truth going to turn out to be?
You see, I've been thinking about, when we first conceived of it, I wanted to be as, RPG-esque as humanly possible, Like, I really wanted this game to be, that you had to not just play these characters, you had to be these characters. You had to make decisions that these characters would make, not what you would make. Richard, horrible character, horrible person, horrible being, evil. So you have to think like him. You have to be like him. You have to make, if you want to advance in the game, you have to be those characters.
So you're really forcing people to actually role play.
Yeah, you really have to role play. Like it's not one of those things where you can go dark side or light side. There's only dark side here.
Yeah.
You have to do horrible shit. We're gonna force you to do it.
You heard it here first. You're gonna have to do horrible shit.
That's actually going to be our tagline for the game, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it should be the game itself. In terms of the gameplay, we borrowed a lot from the old Gauntlet games, that I grew up on as a kid in the arcade. That kind of, four-person, four-player dungeon crawler type of world adventure, where it was a lot of. At the time, there was a lot of button mashing, so I wanted to avoid that as much as possible to make it a lot more, skill-based, team-based, so you had to work with your friends. But we also added these really cool twists where, Richard is this warlock who is ridiculously overpowered. Like his spells do a sick amount of damage. The problem is he also damages his own group.
That's great, by the way.
So you can't just start casting and hoping for the best, because you'll destroy your group and then you're going to die. So you have to use Richard wisely. You can't just. So we really kind of built a lot of those elements in. There's Richard can make a firewall, which is a great idea, but it harms everybody. So there's a lot of fun things like that, for each character.
The great thing is that while you were talking about Richard doing his AOE and hurting everybody, it was at that point in the Kickstarter video where Richard was in fact using his AOE and hurting everybody. So we couldn't have timed that more perfectly.
We actually planned this out. That's what we're going to tell people.
Production value. All right, so you guys have obviously at this point reached out to Kickstarter. Why Kickstarter? And why don't you tell us about the campaign and possibly stretch goals you've got going on for the game and what your goals are?
We've done we've done Kickstarter before, and the first few times we've done it, it's been such a positive experience. It also let us, I don't know, it sounds like a child saying it, but we got to do what we wanted to do. There wasn't anybody over us. We didn't have to answer anybody. We were in the end, we were responsible to our backers, and that to me is a responsibility that I like and that we're kind of used to. So to that end, it's a great way to do any project, but especially for to enter into the video game space, something that we as a company have never done before. This was a great way to kind of start, and we're 18 days left, and it's still got a bit of ways to go, but I think we'll do it.
Okay, so what about your partner? That's actually the one that's doing the development game, Paladin.
Fuck those guys. We do it all.
From big to small.
Yeah, I know. I got a big head all of a sudden. Paladin is this. I'm always nervous letting anybody else play in our playground. With the world that Laura and I have created these past 6 years. And these guys at Paladin are absolutely ridiculous. It's really just, these guys are crazy. They're just like us. They're just like, a few builds that they've returned, they've added these ridiculous, just silly add-ons. They're like, is this too much blood? Because we're gonna add more. And I'm like, yes. And they get the characters, they get the world, and these past 6-9 months working with Dirk and all the guys has been really fantastic. It's really been a great experience, and I'm looking forward to like the next year and a half of these guys. Probably they're going to be sick of me, but that's okay.
All right. So you did briefly mention that you're about 18 days left. You're not quite at your goal yet. What happens if, for the first time, you guys don't achieve your Kickstarter goal? Will the Fork of Truth see the light of day?
It's always, worst case scenario. The project is probably going to be shelved, at least for a little while, when we can revisit it. It's just, I don't want, we don't want to go to a studio. We don't want to do it in a way that it's not going to be the product that we want to do. And I have this very strict policy that we either do things right or we just don't do them. So I'd rather not do the game at all than put out something that, in 5-10 years from now, I'm like, this is shit. Why did we do this? And to me, it's Kickstarter or bust. We'll see how I feel in 18 days, but that's how I feel.
Well, I think your fans appreciate the fact that you're willing to, stick to the Kickstarter and not compromise your ideals.
Yeah, we also, to get to the point to launch the Kickstarter, we've invested, a lot of money, a lot of time, and so we're already, very financially, we have a huge financial stake in this already. So I hope it goes forward. I really do.
All right. So if there is one selling point that we haven't talked about yet about the game that you want everybody to know about, what would that be?
It's a good question. One selling point. This game will make you laugh. You will enjoy this game, not just because of the gameplay, but because the things that the characters will say and do will make you laugh. If you don't laugh, or you don't find them funny, you might want to, I don't know, seek some help. If you enjoy the humor and the adventures that Laura and I do, every week on LFG, I really think that you're going to love this. I really do.
All right. Real quickly, I want to ask the chat room if they got any burning questions that they want us to cover.
Why are you so...
Speak now or forever hold your peace. Look at that. That's the man in there right there.
That's a good question, Sohmer99. It's you.
Why are you so handsome? That's what Sohmer wants to know.
Right? They cracked my code.
Are you going to answer him?
No, that guy's a dick.
Okay.
Okay.
I know Chief Sarkhan out there is like a huge fan and pumps money into everything you guys have. How did you come up with Richard, is what Hippie Bird wants to know. Beard. Hippie Bird.
I wanted to make this character. You know how in any film, in any fantasy book, in anything in this realm, there's always an evil character, but he always has some redeeming quality. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make a guy who does horrible things, and he doesn't have an explanation for it. He just does it. He doesn't try and justify it. He doesn't try. He's not on some kind of path to enlightenment, or he's going to turn out to be a hero. He is who he is. And that's, to me, that's fun, because you don't have to. You can just write him who he is and not worry about who's he going to be, what are people going to think, etc.
All right. Next question I got from the Captain J wants to know if there's going to be any plans to translate the game into other languages.
We had actually talked to Dirk about it. It's something that we do want to do. The tricky thing is that if we do it, I really want to
make the humor translate.
The humor translate, and I hate foreign translations that don't do all of the same character voice acting that we get here. So to do that is a pretty huge undertaking. It is something I do want to do. It's just a matter of, can we do it? Is there enough of a demand for it? I hope so.
I just want to let you know I can speak other languages and I'm available.
Hey, look at you.
Yeah. Anybody else? Chief wants to know if Richard is his brother. I think only he would be able to answer that.
Yes, actually. Richard comes from a long line of you, and you, in fact, siblings.
All right. Well, Ryan, I appreciate your time. Best of luck on your Kickstarter. Next 18 days.
18.
People can find you at LFG Comic, and we actually posted the Kickstarter URL in the chat as well. And we'll have this video up tomorrow with all the information as well to redirect people there. So thanks a lot. I appreciate it. And everybody out there, make sure you keep checking into MMORPG.com for all your latest news and information.
Thank you.